Hey everybody, there was a request for some clarification on your Angry Birds project. So let me just take this opportunity to go over a few of the instructions and clarify a few things. So first, regarding step one, you do not need to worry about using technology in some way to create a background for your graph that makes it look like an Angry Birds game. You can do that by hand if you're creative and artistic, but what you're going to need in step one is essentially you can use either the graph paper that you brought home with you or a plain sheet of paper and a ruler to create a first quadrant grid for yourself to use. So you're going to want and need to see just the first quadrant of a graph. Please feel free to be as creative as you want, drawing a background for this that makes it look like the Angry Birds game, but that's up to you, but it needs to be the first quadrant. Make sure that you make it large enough so that it's going to be able to accommodate all of your graphs. So the next thing is, and I'm going to kind of combine steps 2, 3, and 4 together here in my discussion right now. So on the back sheet, there's data about each bird. So Redbird starts from a flight point of 10, 0. His flight path reaches a maximum height of 18 yards and lands at the coordinates 30, 8, 0 rather. Yellowbird's trajectory is given to you with an equation. We've got a table here for Blackbird, and for Bluebird, you've been given a sketch of that bird's path. You're going to need to use the information about these 4 birds to answer the questions here in step 2 and in step 4. You're going to need to be able to find the maximum height, the axis of symmetry, and the distance traveled by each of those birds. And then once you've done that for all 4 of the birds, you're going to need to determine which bird flew the highest, which bird traveled the longest distance, and which bird hit each pig. Now, some of this information you might choose to get strictly algebraically, using equations and formulas and information that's given to you on the descriptions in the back. You may also, however, get many of these answers when you complete step 3. So you're going to use the information here on the back to create a graph of each bird's flight. So that's going to be one of the ways that you could find the maximum height, the axis of symmetry, the distance traveled, which bird flew the highest, which bird traveled the longest, and which bird hit each pig. I hope that this is clarifying things a little bit. I think that the fact that the steps were written like 1, 2, 3, and 4 makes you think that you have to do them in that particular order. You don't necessarily have to do them in that particular order. The one thing that you do have to do first is set up your graph. Then you're going to use the information on the back to create an image of the path that each bird takes on the graph and answer those questions. Steps 2, 3, and 4 can really be done in any order that you would like. Make the math work for you. Use your interactive notebooks. I'm so proud of the work that you guys have been doing. Keep asking questions. You're off to a great start.